Okay, here we go. Third in the series. How much should I be spending on marketing? I'm here with Nate Streeter, owner of StreetSmart, and I'm Steve Lundgren.
Hello.
How's everybody out there in video land? So we're going to keep this conversation going. The big question for today is: are all leads equal, or are they all created equally? The first point on this is the quality of a lead. So Nate, what's the quality of lead? How does that feed into this?
And you guys are asking us, the bigger question is, how much should I be spending on marketing? And hopefully you guys can watch the whole series of these as they come out, because really our answer to that question is complex. And this is one question we like to ask back is, have you thought about the quality of your leads that are coming in? Because it has such a huge impact on how much money you should be spending on marketing. Often we're looking at these and analyzing these with companies and realizing that a lot of the leads, they may have gotten smart enough where they figured out they need to spend, whatever, $100 to $150 a lead, or 15% of their gross.
Right.
But what they're not realizing is not every $125 lead they bring in is of equal quality. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times what we're doing is helping companies set up systems to analyze that. And it's huge. And these are some of the things that really we've found you need to analyze when you're looking at whether all leads are created equal.
So when you're talking about the quality of something, you need some way to measure it. So how do you measure the quality of a lead?
Lots of different ways. I mean, one of the things that number B there is a big one, which is kill ratio. So what we can do, if most all of your leads come in, let's say via web form, okay? Some of you guys are big into web forms. We love that. It's pretty easy to see because you can see how many of them convert.
So when you say web form, it's like they've got a website and there's a form to fill out for response,
right?
And that's how the lead comes in.
And then did they, if you're pushing them to buy something at that point, what percentage of those people actually bought? And that's your kill ratio. So of the leads you brought in, how many killed? What percentage of people actually bought from you?
Sales that you got for leads.
So if you're an online company, those are a little easier, I guess is what I'm saying. Now, if you're a painter, let's say, what I would recommend is use call tracking, because most people are going to go and call you if they're actually interested. And that's really where I'd measure the lead, not how many people went to your website. Those are a lot of tire kickers. Yeah. So how many people actually called you? And then from there, if you went out and did an estimate, so let's say you got 12 calls, which resulted in 6 estimates that you went and did, and of those 6 you were able to close 5.
Yeah.
Most people think about the kill ratio as 5 out of 6, but you could also look at it as 5 out of 12. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it just depends on what percentage you're taking. Either one's good. What you want though is the big picture, because not all leads are equal. Another advertising campaign might get you 12, which leads to 9 estimates, which then leads to 3 sales.
Yeah,
I mean, it can be so complicated. You see what I'm getting at? So, all of a sudden, if you just measured it based on estimates versus leads, you'd say, well, this is better because 9 out of 12 is better. But then if only a third of those people you actually sold to, you see. Yeah. So we find this a lot. Like if you do a lot of Angie's List advertising or Yellow Pages, certainly in the past, or Google advertising, a lot of times the leads are not equal because they often are calling multiple companies, to come out and get a quote, or to kind of find out what the unique selling propositions are.
Right.
So those quality of leads aren't quite as high. Same thing if if you're on the flip side, someone who looks up carpet cleaning on Google is basically raising their hand to say, I need carpet cleaning.
Right.
So, I mean, again, I always hate this because I know you guys feel like I'm making it more complicated than you want it to be, but it is that complicated.
It's just the reality.
Right. So, the best way to navigate this is, you want to set up systems, whether you're tracking it on the internet, whether you're recording your phone calls. You just need to have a way that you're tracking all these things so you can figure out what the quality of a lead is.
Let's let's kind of examine that a little closer. I mean, are there ways that you can sort of steer or determine or make the quality of your leads better in advance before they even call?
Yes, absolutely. And, again, you're talking expert level, Steve.
Yeah.
So, but that is exactly what big companies that we work with are thinking about. So they're saying, holy crap, 50%. Again, I can't name names, but in fact, I won't even do industry for this one because there's probably not that many big companies in the Twin Cities that do this. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to, but let's say you come to me and you say, I'm only getting 50% kill rate. So only half the people that call me, we sell to.
You're closing, yeah.
And we record all the calls, okay? We listen to the calls, and the same barrier to purchase keeps coming up, whether it's price or speed or whatever, okay?
Whatever it is.
Well, then, you're right. We reverse engineer that. We say, gosh, we need to write our ads different. We're getting the wrong kind of people.
There you go.
They're too price conscious, or they just want speed. Or on the flip side, let's say you say, gosh, we're really good at speed. And whenever someone calls about speed, we are like 100%. Well, let's start writing our ad for speed to attract the people that are most interested in that. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden your quality of lead goes up too. So I think you're right. Like expert level is you reverse engineer this too. You're keeping track of your, all of your leads. You're understanding the kill ratios. You're connecting it to profitability, what's actually making you money, which is number C here. And then you're going back and actually creating websites, creating Facebook posts, creating ads wherever they might be, however you're doing your marketing, based on what makes you money.
Right. And
I just want to give an applause right there because that, if you guys want to know what $60 million companies do, that's what they do.
There it is. So really, in all three of these presentations, we almost always steer. It seems like we almost always steer back to USP. Understanding your USP, or at least being able to articulate it, or know. The better you understand your USP, the better you can sort of lead that quality of lead the quality of the lead you're going to get, because you know what language to speak or who your audience is. Who is your best customer?
Yes.
That's what it comes down to.
Yep. I think you're right. And I think smart businesses, they really excel at a couple different things. One is they are able, because all marketing is about communicating. Right? And so I think that's really what you're hinting at there is, are you effective at communicating how you help people and how you are unique within the marketplace in whatever way that might mean?
Right. You may have your absolute best prospect, the best quality lead you could possibly have, ready to be on the hook, but do they understand? Mm-hmm. Does the bait make sense to them?
Right.
Do they know what you're about? Do they understand how perfect the fit is?
Right.
If you're not communicating that, man, you just blew it.
And, using that fishing analogy, so let's say you put a worm on your hook, and, you might be able to catch sunnies all day long, but the reality is that sunnies aren't the same as catching walleye.
Right.
And so when you talk about number C here, as far as profitability, that's part of what we look at too, is you might be able to get 20 leads, with a worm, and you might be able to get them relatively quickly, but 20 sunfish might turn into hardly any meat, compared to one walleye. Right. And, I think this is partly why I like it. I think big businesses tend to do well at this. I guess the second part is, besides understanding how to communicate, which is effective marketing, is to track everything so you can understand what's working and what's not.
Right.
And, work backwards and work forwards through the sales process. When the lead comes in, when the call comes in, how many are converted through the kill ratio, and then what kind of profitability does that really lead to? And I get it; those systems are are hard for a lot of you, particularly those of you that aren't using good CRMs and good software. But if you want to be a better company, bigger than you are now, this is what you have to do. And even the big companies I work with, they're continually trying to be better at this. This is really the area of improvement that I think, because after you figure out how to get leads, then I think there's that empty feeling. It's kind of like, okay, I figured out how to get leads, and there's that big but, because they know all these things, that the quality leads matter, that the kill ratios matter, and that they're not all equally profitable.
So this sort of explodes that myth about advertising, where they say that you're wasting half your advertising is wasted. You just don't know which half. What we're saying is, if you track your marketing, then you'll know which half. So it sort of explodes that myth.
You absolutely can know what half.
Yeah.
In fact, I'd say don't do any marketing unless you can know what half, right? So, for us, it's just a matter of figuring out what kind of tools you have to put in place so you can measure this from top to bottom.
What about testing, though?
Testing's important. Often we have to come hat in hand and try to figure out exactly. So what I mean by hat in hand is that sometimes we don't know. I mean, you have to do testing. That's really what I'm saying is, we look at it and we say, gosh, this could be a good strategy or this could be a good strategy. Let's try these different things. Let's see what the kill ratios are. Let's see what the quality of leads. Let's see if we bring in those big walleyes or if we're bringing in sunnies. And because we have the measurement systems in place, we can make adjustments. So, you guys, one thing you should know is you'll be surprised at how many basic risks and wading into the, again, using the same analogy, they wade into the lake,
into the river,
not knowing what they're going to catch, and they throw some different bait out there and see what happens. I mean, and I know that that's hard for smaller businesses to waste money, because really there's some waste inevitably in that. But that's also how you figure out how to catch bigger fish.
And that scenario is vastly different than the company who just tries this and that didn't work and tries that and that didn't work and just keeps trying stuff. They're not tracking anything.
Yeah.
They're just like, okay, well, just is there something new we can try? We've tried everything and nothing works.
Right.
Well, they're just, this is just not the kind of program to run.
Right. So, again, not to make this more complicated than it needs to be, but when you ask me the question, how much should I be spending on marketing? And I know the answer that you want is 15% or, $50 a lead or, and I want to give you that answer, but there's a lot of things we have to talk about before we can get to that answer.
Right.
And these are some of them, which is thinking through this process and what it looks like. And, after we catch the fish, is it a good fish? How many of them do we kill? How profitable are they? Those are so important to this conversation.
So it's really individualized. You really have to look at all the aspects of the company to be able to arrive at a figure.
I think there are trends in industries that we see over and over again, but even within an industry, it can be vastly different when it gets to this stage. Because like you said, the unique selling propositions could be completely different.
Right.
If you are a really high-end cleaning company, and you're putting coupons out there that look like, you're a cheap cleaning company.
Yeah.
And then you get all these people who contact you and get an estimate and then don't sign up.
Right.
Well, again, thinking like this, the reason you weren't getting that high of why your quality of leads weren't high and your kill ratios weren't high is because your advertising was positioning you all wrong.
It's barking up the wrong tree.
But the truth is, if you didn't really keep track of all these different things, you might not really realize that.
Right.
And so I think that's partly why it's really important to kind of understand. I always prefer, I wish, this was still 1980 and most all leads for businesses came via phone. Because there's so much more you can learn from a phone conversation than a web form.
This is true.
So I love, if I could analyze everybody's business based on phone calls, holy smoly, that makes things way easier because we can almost always figure out barriers to purchase and, what the different things are, whether they're set or not. Whereas, it is harder in the web world, that's a little harder, but usually they tip their hat too. People are really upfront. If you ask them questions, say, well, why didn't you choose us? You'd be surprised at how many people. Don't be embarrassed to ask those kind of questions. Don't ever be embarrassed to ask any question that would make your company better. People get that. So
now in our other company, on Paperboy, sometimes when we're prospecting, we'll get the comment from somebody that they've tried flyer marketing and that didn't work. Mm-hmm. How does that fit into this scenario?
Well, and I think, for us, lead quality in our flyer delivery business is really important because we get some people that think a $500 advertising ad spend is a lot.
Right.
And and then I have other companies where 5,000 is a test.
Right.
So, all leads aren't certainly equal in our flyer delivery business, and we found that to be the case. Yeah. So I don't know if that answers your question directly, but
I was thinking more about their perception of marketing. They've maybe tried some different things and that they thought didn't work. and what is it that they're not seeing there? I mean, that's the company in this scenario I was talking about, where they're trying this and trying that, and they're determining that things don't work.
Right. And I think, anytime you're in an industry where people have really strong preconceived notions, again, you have to be thinking about that. That's a huge barrier to purchase. Right. And so if anytime you're doing any marketing, you need to be considering what the barriers to purchase are. You're right. For our flyer delivery company that we have here, the barrier to purchase is a lot of people have preconceived notions about flyers. They've done it before, it didn't work. Every month we do flyer campaigns for people that it didn't work before, and we're transforming the way they think about flyers. But part of that is we're able to show them that what we do is very different than what they've done in the past.
That's what I was aiming at. What are we doing differently?
Right. So that, and even that starts right from when we're doing our marketing, right? Because we're positioning ourselves very differently than most of our competitors do. Yeah. So I think, this brings in a different level of quality. It brings higher kill ratios and higher profitability. So, we're thinking strategically about all this with our flyer delivery company.
There we go.
Sort of glad that my competitors aren't.
That makes our job easier.
Yeah. So, I won't go into too much detail about that.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
So.
Well, we better wrap this up, huh?
Yeah. Steve, you usually do this one. Let me give you a break.
Okay. Go ahead.
So, how can I, sometimes we get the question, how can I help you? And how can you, the listener, help us?
Yeah, it's two kinds of, they either listen to this and it was helpful for them, or they think it might be helpful for somebody else. What can they do?
Yeah, if you will be willing to leave us a review on Google or Facebook or Yelp or wherever you want to leave it on the internet, we love that. Or LinkedIn, we love those comments too.
Yeah, there we go.
Or a Twitter mention, we love that. And certainly, like Steve said, if you share this video with someone oh gosh, that's probably the biggest compliment we could get.
That's almost like a referral.
Yeah, we love that. And if you have a topic you want us to cover, this is one we just covered. How should I be spending money on marketing? If you've got a topic you want us to cover, let us know. We'll try our very best to cover it in the coming weeks or months. Let's say you're ready to take the next step. You say, gosh, Nate, I really need help with all this. I'm sort of swimming in the molasses of quality of leads and kill ratios and profitability. And
what do we do? How much should I spend on marketing?
Yeah, we can help you with that. Our coaching packages for our companies that we work with month in and month out, are costing anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000 a month. But we also sell smaller packages where we can help you with just a very specific issue. We have packages that start at $599 for 4 sessions. It's a great way to kind of get your feet wet into, if you haven't done a lot of strategy before, and it's a great way to get your feet wet. So contact us. We can certainly help you in that way. And you can call us, email us, connect with us on Twitter, whatever you want. It really doesn't matter to us.
Yeah, however you like to communicate.
So
until then, take care, and we'll see you again.